Gani tena hii?
Hebu kwanza tuhakikishe insurance yako ni halali. Wewe unachukua tu karatasi unabandika Unajua hii sasa ni police case wewe. Shuka.
Ashiki simu.
The customer you're trying to reach is not available.
Don't find yourself in such situations. Verify your insurance sticker before you drive. Dial *352# or download Bima Yangu app to verify. Usibahatishe. Thibitisha pap.
This week on MTV Sugar Mashariki.
Hello.
We are doing all we can after the unfortunate incident.
It wasn't an unfortunate incident.
Remember I ranked her for yes.
Asante Homa.
Tumayo asante. Takuwa improve nikirudi.
Gangster Hanifa. Mbona tu unaenda wapi? Lole Mumbe.
Every Tuesday at 11 p.m.
Welcome back to The Explainer. Like we said, we are live from Homa Bay County. All roads will be leading here on Sunday. That's in a few days from now when the country celebrates its 62nd Madaraka Day. And that is coming from here at Homa Bay County. So we're here with Governor Gladys Wanga to continue the conversation we had started earlier on the program. Governor, we had talked about, the local economic benefits for, the residents of Homa Bay County with the coming of the celebrations. But let's now focus on what's happening here on the ground. It's been 2.5 years of your term. Where does that stand with some of the projects that you had set out for?
Yeah, thank you, Yvonne, and we're happy we're back. And so when we set out, we ran on a manifesto of hope, giving the people of Homa Bay hope for transformation of the county. And we immediately set out to work, transforming that manifesto into our CIDP, costing that CIDP, the County Integrated Development Plan, so that we know that having discussed with the people, because once you run, you go back to the people again and ask them, okay, now you've elected us, what exactly do you want? And that's what you put together in the County Integrated Development Plan. So we put together our County Integrated Development Plan and immediately got to work. Some of the highest priority areas having been areas of health, agriculture, water, provision of water. People were talking about electricity as well, looking at areas of cooperatives, empowerment of women, youth, worries about the triple threat of teenage pregnancies and high HIV infections and sexual and gender-based violence, and high unemployment among our young people. So some of these areas is what we costed in our CIDP. And Yvonne, immediately we saw that our development budget for the 5 years on the expectations of the people was about 80 billion shillings. We looked at the equitable share and so that if we set aside, say, 2.4 billion of our equitable share every year, we'll probably get to 12 billion in the 5 years with an expectation of about 80 billion. So immediately embarked on, for example, our own source revenue. We started to look at how do we improve our own source revenues. We got our own source revenue in the year 21-22 at about 191 million a year. By 22-23, just by going cashless, digitizing revenue administration, setting up a revenue board, we moved and getting support from people like former governor of Laikipia and now chairman of KRA, Nderitu Mureithi. We got our revenue to about 800 million the following year, 22-23. When we got to 23-24, we got to 1 billion. Now 24-25, we are getting to around 1.5 billion. So generating that own source revenue was going to help us to also fill in that gap in terms of our development needs.
Is that from new sources of revenue, new streamlines of revenue, or is it just
no? We did increase our taxes. Okay. We just sealed the loopholes we just sealed the loopholes that were there by just going cashless. putting in place a board that looks at revenue every time, showing leading from the front the revenue efforts, sealing every single loophole that we had, moving there. That's how we got our revenues going higher. And then we had to look at, even with that, you still can't bridge that gap of the 80 billion. So we had to look at what are the donors, partners, how do we position ourselves also to private sector? How do we get private sector investments coming in to also bridge some of that gap? And then how do we get to national government interventions? Because 15% of the money is what is devolved. 85% remains at the center. How do you, and this 85% can be spent in any of the 47 counties. So how do we prioritize and get part of that 85% also spent in Homa Bay? So that's how our planning has gone along. Then we began to focus on health. We elevated health to a strategic level where I gave it, full and personal focus. Starting with primary health care, because prevention is better than cure, it's always said. So we got our 2,900 community health promoters together, got them on a county stipend before we got also support from the national government to support that, and also in equipping them. So once we buffered the primary healthcare level and began to work on prevention a lot, and that's why we've seen things like malaria. Our prevalence has gone down from over 19% to about 3%, just by the work that our CHPs are doing at community level, spraying, insecticides and so on and so forth. And even teenage pregnancies have also gone down reasonably just by community engagements and mentorship and so on. So at that primary level, we did that. Then we looked at our lower level facilities, and there were areas that didn't have lower level facilities. If you look at Soklo in Pangano, where we did the maternity wings, and we've done for many of our lower level facilities, Seka Kamser, whether you look at Miniambo Health Facility, look at facilities all across the county. Then there were facilities that did not have theaters, but they were level 4 facilities, like the Ndiwa level 4. We did 2 theaters there. Our Rachonyo East in Kabondo Kasipul, we did theaters there. We did an outpatient department at our Rachonyo South facility, a theater in Sena in Fangano Island, and improvements at the level 4 facility in Tomboya. Just generally looking at our level 4 facilities. Then our level 5 facility. It was the face of shame for our county. If you wanted to say Homa Bay was doing badly, you brought the picture of our referral hospital. So we immediately worked on a new outpatient department, made sure we have a CT scan, made sure our dialysis was functioning and people were not traveling long distances to have dialysis. We immediately embarked also on putting up a new accident and emergency center that is now about 65% completed, and just making sure we revamped our, rehabilitated our maternity wing, just making sure that we were building public confidence. Even the day I was sworn in today, August 25th, and I went to our hospital on August 26th and found only one patient, a child, because there had been such regular salary parades that people did not know whether if they came to the hospital they would find staff or not. This is something that has never happened in our regime, and the public confidence is very high and the public trust. Providing healthcare is a very challenging it's a very challenging service delivery element, because there are many people involved. You're a governor, you want to make it happen, but you have to work with your county health management team. The doctors have to be at it, the nurses have to be at it, and they give it their very best, but they are overstretched many times. I want to ask about health, because there's been the consistent complaint that despite the fact that health is a devolved function, a big portion of the funds remain at the national level. What are your thoughts around that, and how much more money should be devolved? I think you hear various statistics about over 80% of the money still remains at the national government, when that should be money that should be devolved, funds following function. And that is true, because you find that the national budget for health is still over 100 billion shillings. If you put together all the county budgets for health, you probably don't get to 100 billion shillings. So there's a lot of money that we have been discussing as a Council of Governors, including in the summit, to say that more money for health should actually not remain at the center, should come down to the counties. And I think that is a very important point. But something else that's revolutionizing health slowly, in the grassroots, is the Facility Improvement Fund, which is money that is generated by the facilities, remaining within the facilities to help in improving the facilities, rather than it going anywhere to the center to hope to be put back. Right. So I think that is really revolutionizing, especially with the advent of SHA. And many people don't I see a lot of complaints, about SHA or misunderstanding. But if you ask any facility today, Yvonne, if you're here in Homa Bay tomorrow, go to any facility and ask them between NHIF and SHA what they would prefer. They'll tell you NHIF, one, because they'll tell you SHA, because one, SHA now reimburses facilities every 2 weeks. 2, if you want a pre-authorization, you get it in 24 hours. 3, Yvonne, when we were with NHIF, 80% of facilities in Homa Bay are public, 20% are private. But if you look at the reimbursements, 80% was going to private facilities and 20% to public. That is now being reversed, with public facilities receiving much more resources in comparison to their private colleagues, in line with the capacities and the numbers that we have. So with that, with SHA making regular reimbursements and the facilities retaining the money, there is a lot of improvement going on within our health facilities. And Yvonne, we also in partnership now with the Aga Khan Hospital, and we want by the end of June to begin oncology services at our referral hospital. That is chemo. That is one thing that we haven't been able to introduce, but we want to, by end of June, begin to give chemo services. We already have an oncologist in place. We have our oncology staff in place. We've gotten a hood. We are looking at the National Cancer Institute coming. So we're just re-innovating the place where we want to do the work, and we want to begin to give oncology services at the referral. That's how far we've pushed our health agenda.
Okay, so a lot that's happened in terms of own source revenue, in terms of health as well. I want us to focus, Madam Governor, a little bit on a contentious issue of funds that has been part of the debate in the country. And this is NGCDF, and the questions around that. Governor, where do you stand on the contentious development questions around that, particularly on NGCDF? Considering we've seen your party leader, Raila Odinga, and the President, William Ruto, seemingly at odds over this issue, what are your thoughts on NGCDF?
I've been in Parliament for 10 years, and I think the history of development in our country is the context here, which is the persistent marginalization of certain areas that led to the clamor for devolution, that ensured, there's equitable resources going to every corner of the country. So I think where my party leader is coming from is that when devolution came into place, then CDF then needs to exit and let devolution function. Although CDF addresses national government functions that are not necessarily done by, would not necessarily be done by counties. So I think there are parts of this country that, would never see resources, say, for classrooms and so on and so forth, because you would have to go line up in the ministry and say, give me this or give me the other. Yvonne, I would never contradict my party leader on an issue as fundamental as the place of devolution. I just think in terms of how we phase out, especially in the minds of the electorate and the people and their expectations, we need to find a way to phase out that is not sudden and abrupt.
Do you not think there's been enough time to phase that out? Because we've had devolution in this country since 2013, and the argument is that CDF, before it was even NGCDF, was a precursor of devolution, right? So taking money to the ground, you know, where it's at. But we now say devolution is here, and that's exactly what it's doing. How much more time do you think that needs to be given, considering we've had devolution for how many terms now?
Yeah, it's 2 terms, and now
yes,
and now we are halfway.
And we're 2.5 terms. And the question that there's just too many funds that are floating out here, and considering also what the court has said about NGCDF. So how would we phase that out? How would you see that happening?
I think the court has pronounced itself on the issue of NGCDF, particularly in relation to doing functions that are devolved. And you could see earlier that there were functions like water or building health facilities or involvement of MPs who are supposed to be representatives, you know, involvement in the law. And so I think MPs have over time been amending, you know, the law to remove every element that the courts have found unconstitutional.
So where do you stand on it? NGCDF is...
I think just give it, let's give it time to...
the court has pronounced itself, so...
You know, I think the court pronounces itself on certain elements that the National Assembly keeps on, you know, amending and saying we are now in safe space. MPs are not involved with CDF. It is just a fund that, you know, enables things to happen. So, but
that does not put you at odds with your party leader Raila Odinga, because he's very firm and categorical that this is money that should be going to the counties. That is why I told you that I do not want to disagree with I cannot disagree with my party leader on the place of devolution in this country. But you still think
having been in the National Assembly for the last 10 years, I also saw the argument and from where the MPs are coming from on this matter. So I'm sure there'll be dialogue because even I'm sure there'll be dialogue on the matter.
You're playing on the fence on this one. You say you don't want to disagree with the party leader, but you see where the MPs are coming from.
As well, yeah.
As a governor who runs development on the ground, do you not have a stand or a belief on you know, this debate over NGCDF? Because phasing it out is what does that mean?
My position in devolution and the place of devolution, and I told you funds hanging in Nairobi, for example, on healthcare monies or agriculture monies, on devolved functions. Those monies should be devolved. NGCDF is running 2 things: security and schools. You know, monies for building schools. Even if NGCDF had stopped today, those 2 functions that they are running, you know, those monies will not be devolved as at today.
Okay, so you're on the fence on that one?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to remain there.
You want to remain on the fence?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about a little bit what's going on in Homa Bay politically. In recent, perhaps weeks, I think, since we've seen witnessed the murder of Kasipul MP Ongondowere in the capital, Nairobi. It would seem like there's the impression of a violent county with gangs and gangs running wild. What's happening in your county, Madam Governor?
I think we have been very focused in our county on transformation, and even and I'll come back to this issue of the late MP, who was also my very good friend. But a lot has happened in terms of whether you look at agriculture, Yvonne. It is Homa Bay, many people do not know, we are the highest producers of sweet potatoes in the country. We are the second highest producers of cotton, and we have grown the acreage over time, multiple fold. We are the highest producers of groundnuts. We are the highest producers of sunflower. And now we are looking at how do we add value. And we've set up now, when we got registered, the Riwa Special Economic Zone, which is, you know, perhaps the only, one of the only special economic zones this side of Naivasha. Okay. And we want to look at the issues of value addition there, and how do we get our farmers more on that area, along those lines.
My question was specifically with what happened with the murder of the MP for Kasipul, and the impression that we have seen of violence in the county? I'd like you to speak to that specifically, because that has taken a spectacle nationally, and many residents of the country would like to know what's going on in the county. There have been many stories, and I would like to give you the moment now to address some of those issues. I know you've been fairly upset with what's been said, but what is going on in this county? Is it a county that's run by violent gangs and goons who are running around with guns and hunting down MPs in the capital?
First of all, I'd like to say that what happened to a late MP, who was my very good friend, was very sad. And most unexpected, and took us aback and shook us, because as I'm telling you, we've run a very collegiate county, united leaders. You've seen us together as the leadership of Homa Bay, always moving together, trying to get the best for our people. And I think what happened in Nairobi, and we are looking at the investigative agencies telling us what could have been the issue and who could have done what happened to the late MP. As far as the county is concerned, I think I've been here since I've been MP here for the last 10, 11 years. Then I've been a governor now nearly 3 years. We are fairly peaceful. We run it's very hot politically sometimes, especially during elections, but fairly peaceful. So this incident was out of the ordinary, happened in Nairobi, and we are also looking for answers on what could have happened.
Okay, some would say out of the ordinary, but then, Madam Governor, just 2 weeks after that fatal shooting of Kasipul MP, the person whom he succeeded, who is now your deputy governor, claimed his life was in danger, and that about, 2 to 3 shots were fired at his car. What do you know about his claims, and what can you tell us about your deputy governor? What's his state of security at the moment?
Yeah, I think that was also a very concerning incident, and I did issue a statement where we had discussions with him. He told me what transpired, and we immediately called on the security agencies to investigate. We haven't received reports yet on who exactly could have been involved with that incident, but we took it very seriously with the security agencies, and the deputy governor's security is beefed up, and we're keeping an eye and hoping that we can get a report back from our security agencies on what exactly happened.
What's the state of the relationship between you and your deputy governor?
Very cordial and very good.
Because some of the claims that have come out of this incident point to an uncomfortable relationship between the two of you.
No, propaganda and speculation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you
we've walked together this journey. My deputy and I, we've been together in Parliament for the first 2013, 2017. We've worked together since the beginning of our term. He's my Minister for Agriculture. We have had these achievements in agriculture together. So we enjoy a very cordial relationship.
Okay, I know you said the first one was isolated, but that's frightening it would be for quite a number of people that there have been attempts on 2 important leaders in your county. One of them sadly passes on, and within 2 weeks there's an attempt on the life of another. Would you then understand how people are concerned about the state of security in Homa Bay County?
I would like to, from our security agencies, and they have, they have reported to us that they are investigating this, the matter of the deputy governor. But I'd just like to assure the general public and everybody that any security incident within Homa Bay is being taken extremely seriously by ourselves and by the security agencies, and we hope that we will be able to know, they will be able to tell us exactly what happened. But as I said, Homa Bay remains relatively a peaceful county and with peace-loving people, very resilient.
Yet, right after the death of Kasipul MP, Ongondo Were, You were very emphatic in some of the statements that you made. You said this is not what you signed up for in your agreement for your people to be killed. This was even before investigations had been conducted. Madam Governor, what do you know about the murder of Kasipul, and why would you make such a statement that seems to indict the national government, and so much so as to put into question the agreement between ODM and Kenya Kwanza?
What I know was that the security of a public officer is in the hands, and of everybody, including yourself and myself, and every ordinary citizen, is in the hands of the government. The national government and the police service specifically is responsible for security of the people. And what I knew at the time that I said was that the MP had complained several times about his own security and that there was a threat on his life. So the question there was, what was done about those complaints? And the National Police Service should have, told us what did they do about the specific complaints that the MP had made.
All right, but you were placing this on the national government and even threatening you, and I think there was other leaders from your party who were then saying, then if that is the case, then this is not an agreement we want to continue to be a part of. That's how serious it was that you were
because national security is in the hands of the national government, and we felt we needed answers to the many questions that were in the minds of our people. We speak for the people and for the family, and we felt like we really did need answers. And I want to say, Yvonne, we were immediately, we saw a lot of progress in terms of arrests and, people.
So were you
being
considering
brought
actually
to book.
leaving your broad-based agreement over the murder of the Kasipul MP? Was that something that was on the table, or was it a statement that was made in the heat of the moment?
Not really the heat of the moment. I think we want security for all our people, and we want to be able to, to walk a journey together where we know that our people are secure and going forward together.
I want us to talk about the broad-based government, at the moment. Madam Governor, is ODM in government, or isn't it?
I want to make this very, very clear, that ODM is a political party on its own, and so is UDA and the Kenya Kwanza government. On 7th of March, the ODM party and the UDA party leaders sat at KICC and signed a memorandum of understanding. And the memorandum of understanding spoke to 10 key points that brought us together to work together in terms of moving this country forward. We talked about inclusion. We talked about devolution. We talked about leaving no Kenyan behind. And I think that is the arrangement that we are in. We have people from ODM who are in the government, working with the government.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, ODM is working with UDA under that memorandum of understanding that has included our people also in government. And therefore, as far as the 10-point agenda is concerned, and as far as moving this country forward together, as far as uniting the country, as far as including every part of this country, we are together.
Explain to Kenyans how this works, because three of some of the highest-ranking members of ODM, left the party to then join government. It wasn't
they
just...
They didn't leave the party.
Left the party positions
yes,
that they hold.
Yes, they left party positions, yeah.
So that's three of them. I think two were deputies.
Yes,
right?
Deputy party leaders.
And one who is your predecessor as chair. How
yes.
would it be that people at this highest level,
yeah.
Of the party structure, leave those positions to join government, but yet your party leader and you claim that you are not in government?
I've said that we are working together. ODM and UDA are working together under the memorandum of understanding that we have. And our deputy party leaders, Oparanya and Joho, our chairman Badi, our minority leader then, they are all in the broad-based government. And therefore we are working together, Yvonne. The two parties are working together as we speak in the broad-based arrangement to deliver for Kenyans. And it's not about the two leaders. It's about leaving no one behind. It's about inclusion. It's about devolution. It's about the issues that affect youth and employment. It's about the issues that affect Kenyans the most that we want to address together.
All right. It's broad-based, but it's only got two parties. It's leaving no one behind, but it's only got two parties. That's UDA and ODM. What would you say to the others who say, well, how inclusive is this if it's only the arrangement between two parties and
I think it's open
not
to
the whole of Kenya?
It's actually open to everybody.
But yet it's only two people that have signed it.
It's open to everybody else. Whoever wants to be part of the broad-based government and the unity and bringing Kenyans together and moving forward, they are welcome to be part of it.
But wouldn't you then take steps to include them into that?
I think that
if you're saying you're leaving no one behind, but you're saying whoever wants to.
Many steps have been taken. And you remember when there was the Gen Z, the president stepped out and said, look, I want to form an all-inclusive government of national unity so that we can bring this country back on track and move forward together. And that was an invitation to everybody, really. But you see, you can't drag people you can't put a rope on people's necks and drag them to a position. This is voluntary. You have to want to be, part of the unity and part of the moving the country forward.
So what would you say to Gen Z who feel betrayed by that move and who do not feel included? And in what way does this address them and the issues that they were raising in June last year?
The issues that the Gen Zs raised last year, including inclusion, including accountability, including corruption and opulence, these are the issues that are within the memorandum that has been signed by His Excellency President Ruto and Raila Amolo Odinga to move the country forward. So the Gen Z issues that were raised, by the way, Yvonne, if you remember, these were the issues that we had raised also earlier when we had the 2023 cost of living demonstrations and so on. These are the issues we had raised. The Gen Zs raised them, and these are the issues that are within the memorandum that we are working together to
So how is it addressing inclusion for the Gen Z?
Forward.
In what way practically is this addressing accountability? What's changed? That's what I'm just trying to understand in this arrangement that you call broad-based.
If you look at the way currently the government conducts, say Treasury, for example. I've seen a CS Treasury who even goes to the Bunge la Wananchi to listen to what people want to hear. I've seen a CS Treasury who engages in the youth parliament. I've seen a CS Treasury who is listening and changing. I've seen people listening more and including feedback more. Not just at the national level, Yvonne, even at the county level, even in our counties, people are paying more attention to public participation and feedback from the public and aligning it to the agendas that we implement.
So for the Gen Z to feel betrayed, you say they're not?
I think as we continue and the issues continue being addressed, I think it will become clearer that what my party leader has focused on has been, and he has not even left the issues, I believe, like devolution, for example, that he has been speaking to, and the issues affecting young people. He continues to speak about them and continues to address them as we move forward. So I feel like with time, I think the Gen Zs will understand that this was always about the issues that they raised.
Okay, but they've seen ODM, either party members or those affiliated are the ones who are getting positions in government, either at advisory level or within cabinet, and they're not seeing too many of themselves in that matrix. So how do you address that, even in terms of from the optics that they were out on the streets? You say in the beginning it was ODM that was out on the streets, and it would seem that ODM was addressed and was included. But then what about the young people who were then agitating, and they're saying, well, we agitated, but then you got the rewards, you got the spoils.
I want to say this, Yvonne, that one of the ministers that was brought in, for example, was this Minister for Water, who's a very young man, he's a Gen Z. What also struck me was when new PSs were brought on board. You have Fikirini Jacobs, he's a 27-year-old. You have another PS who's in his 30s, the gentleman from Samburu. If you looked at the matrix of PSs that came on board, Gen Zs were part of them. And so the face of Kenya, every part of this country, even those that felt, we would never be considered for positions, were brought forward. And that is part of the journey to inclusion.
Okay. I want us to once again focus on what happens in the county going forward. You talked about own source revenue and increasing that. What are the new ways in which investors can come in? Because you said you're bringing in investors. What are the other areas that you can exploit that haven't been? Because you said with own source revenue, you've just been plugging the loopholes, right? So what are some of the new revenue streams that you're looking at for the county?
Well, I think in terms of investments, we had a Homa Bay International Investments Conference, and we managed to bring on board at that point investors in the cotton sector, the Rift Valley products. We managed to sign the agreements with fish processing, Victory Farm and the others. We managed to bring on board investors who are interested in the area of energy, investors who are interested in the area of leather and beef. We managed to get a university that's willing to set up as part of the Riwa City complex. So we've opened our doors to investments, and now we are looking at investors in the area of edible oils, whether it's oil palm or whether it's sunflower or whether it's peanuts processing. We are putting up the county aggregation and industrial park right there that would be able to help in aggregation of produce. We also want to do something with our sweet potatoes, producing sweet potato pellets with the sweet potatoes we have in Kabondo Kasipul. So our gates are open to investors. We have a one-stop shop for investors who want to come and invest in Homa Bay. Looking at the area of hospitality, Yvonne, for now, for example, we are hosting major events. We are hosting Madaraka Day, but we're also going to be hosting the Devolution Conference from 12th to 15th of August. Later this year, the whole country will be back in Homa Bay. So we're looking at investments in the area of hospitality, people who want to put up hotels. We have land available that we are looking at possibly discussing with investors as an incentive to put up hotels. We're looking at opening up of our tourism areas, including the mythical Lake Simbi Nyaima. We are looking at the Takawiri Islands, Rusinga, and now we have the Rusinga Ring Road, which has also been done. And Yvonne, we have, over the last couple of months, also had a lot of national government investments here. We have a new fish market that has been done for our fishermen. We have a pier, and we are looking at how do we get a cruise ship even from bringing guests from the Mara, the Mara Serena to our pier here is 2 hours by drive. They can drive here, jump onto the cruise, do some cultural tourism in the islands. We have 16 islands here in Homa Bay, and 80% of Kenya's Lake Victoria, by the way. And then we go, they can go cruise all the way to the Serengeti, Mwanza and the Serengeti and back. So these are the areas we're looking for investments in tourism and hospitality and in the agricultural sector.
Okay, all right. Give us your closing thoughts now as we wind up and we gear towards 1st of June.
Yeah, I think we have a big opportunity, and first of all, we'd like to welcome everybody to come to Homa Bay for the Madaraka Day. We really appreciate the partnership that we've had with the national government that has also resulted in many projects happening here in Homa Bay. We look forward to hosting everybody here. It's a peaceful county we have here. It's good people, resilient people, hospitable people. There's a lot to do in Homa Bay beyond just the celebrations. We will also be looking forward to hosting the Mashemeji Derby. We call upon AFC and their fans. They are welcome, and they should feel very comfortable in Homa Bay. And
you're ready for
we are very ready for the derby. Then we look at hosting the Devolution Conference later in the year. And Homa Bay is open and ready for investment. It's a beautiful place. It's truly the Bay of endless potential.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gladys Wanga, who's the governor of Homa Bay County, from where all eyes will be on Sunday, the 1st of June. I was going to say January, the 1st of June, with the 62nd Madaraka Day celebrations that will be taking place here. Thank you, Governor, for hosting us here in the county.
Thank you very much.
Right, that's it for The Explainer tonight. Have a good night. We'll see you again sometime soon. Bye-bye.